Brazos County is part of Stephen Austin's colony. The upper end, it was our northern boundary. The old San Antonio Road, it was the north boundary of his, and it went down to the coast. But that was 1820s. His dad had gotten permission to bring in 300 settlers, and he continued that after his dad passed away. And so that's when the surveying started. Before that, of course, there was Native Americans here, and a lot of rich history in that, and Spanish explorers, missionaries. Everything came through, especially along the old San Antonio Road. But the surveying is really what I sort of, tell people that's the modern history, when we have all the written record, written measurements of the land, descriptions of everyone's properties, and 1824 actually when they started giving out the land grants and signing them.
And they were the Mexican government. Why were they interested in having Anglos settle this part of the world?
Well, they owned it and didn't have enough army or resources, like the Romans did in England, where they'd go out and build Hadrian's Wall and things. They couldn't do that around the whole state of Texas from their government down in Mexico. They looked for a way to settle it with people that would promise to become a Mexican citizen and honor their constitution and also the Catholic religion. And so they were inviting Austin to bring in the colonists and get them to swear allegiance to the country, and they would give them a land grant. And usually that was 4,428 acres, 1 square league. So it was very enticing to get the Anglos here.
And that relationship with the Mexican government got off to a good start, but at some point things certainly went awry. What happened?
Well, it was mainly Santa Anna himself. He tried to make it into a democracy and force his own wins in the elections and became dictator and changed the government. And if you notice in Texas history, in Republic of Texas history, when the starting of the Texas revolutions in the 1830s, they would fly the Mexican flag with the date 1824 on the banner, and that just meant that the Anglos were happy with the 1824 Constitution, but they were not happy with the changes that Santa Anna had changed and made it into his dictatorship, and so that's where they started from 1832 through 1836 when the Texas Revolution happened, and they won at San Jacinto. That was all about them wanting a government in Texas, not a Mexican government below the Rio Grande to have to travel to have to do their business, to be remote. And that government was also granting a lot of the lands to Mexican VIP citizens that had no intention of coming up here, and they were getting a lot of the land the Anglos and the impresarios felt was part of the deal that Texas would get. And when they got enough Anglos that it was written that they would get to form their own government, or at least the Mexican would bring a central government up here and separate Texas. And so they took it into their own hands and declared independence for Texas and won that for 9 years.